Hey gamers! If you like Metroidvania games, then you've come to the right place. Today, I'm going to show you top 15 best Metroidvania that will be your games of the year 2024. Please note some of these games in early access, but All I Know These game is a must-have for Metroidvania fan. But before we go into the list, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. Recently, instant gaming has become my favorite place to buy games, because there are many discounts that cannot be found anywhere else. It's also very accessible. I mean, look at this game. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is only $2. Of course, if you enjoy Metroidvania, you must buy this one. And in what way? You only need to enter the description below, create your own ID, and start searching for your favorite games that will get the activation code for your chosen platform. By clicking on my link, you will not only save your money, but also help me support this channel. Alright then, let's dive into the list. BioGun. It's a single-player Metroidvania game with a focus on exploration and upgrades. The game has excellent combat, interesting upgrades, and a high level of polish. In BioGun, you play as a tiny pig-like creature that is injected into a dog to fight off a virus that is threatening to make dogs extinct. You'll navigate through the dog's body, fighting off all sorts of viral monsters and dodging deadly traps. The game has a lot of different enemies and bosses to fight, each with their own unique abilities and attacks. Even though it's not finished yet, BioGun already feels like a complete game and is definitely worth checking out for fans of the Metroidvania genre. Rebel Transmute is a high-quality Metroidvania game developed by a solo developer named Evan Tor. The game follows the story of Moon Mikono, a space scrapper searching for her missing mother on the isolated planet of Terra 6. The game's difficulty and platforming can be tough, but it's always fair, and the RPG-like character-building system adds depth to gameplay. The art style is simple with creative enemy designs and distinct biomes. While it may not be the most visually impressive game, Rebel Transmute's engaging gameplay and atmosphere make it a standout entry in the crowded Metroidvania genre. The Mobius Machine is a game that takes inspiration from Metroid, focusing on sci-fi shooting and exploration. You play as an astronaut who crash lands on an alien planet and must find a way to escape. The gameplay is classic Metroidvania with a mix of platforming and puzzles. You'll face different enemies, including wild animals, infected colonists, and rogue machines. As you progress, you'll find new abilities, weapons, and upgrades that make you stronger and help you survive the hostile planet. The more you advance, the better you can navigate and interact with the alien environment. The game also has a Souls-like element where you lose a chunk of currency when you die, which can be divisive. Ultros is a colorful Metroidvania game set in a psychedelic space uterus. The game features fast-paced combat, a time loop mechanic, and a unique guarding system that allows players to grow trees and manipulate the environment. While combat is initially straightforward, it becomes more puzzle-like as you try to defeat enemies with diverse attack combos for better rewards. The gardening system starts simple but evolves into delightful environmental puzzles where you splice plants to create paths. The game also features a network building system, where players connect flowers to create a glowing tether that expands up through the map like the branches of a tree. Venture to the Vile is a unique Metroidvania game where you play as a character who gets infected by a mutagenic force called the Vile, which transforms ordinary things into monstrous creatures. And player must use their mutations to explore the town, fight off infected creatures, and uncover the truth behind the contagion. Combat in the game is exciting and balanced. As you defeat bosses, you gain new mutations that give you powerful abilities, like a scything blade arm or a grasping tentacle. You can also collect materials to upgrade these abilities. The music and sound effects enhance the eerie atmosphere, making the game both captivating and spooky. Turbo Kid is a game where you play as a character who rides a bike through a dangerous wasteland. At the start, you only have a basic weapon, but as you progress, you'll gain new powers like a charge shot, melee weapon, wall jumps, and air dashes. Not only that, you can summon a bike at any time by pressing a button. This unique feature allows you to traverse the game's post-apocalyptic world at high speed, access new areas by launching yourself off ramps, and perform tricks. The game is fun, but the first hour before you get the bike can be a bit slow, and some collectibles are just pieces of lore, which might not be as exciting for everyone. Momodora Moonlit Farewell is the latest and final game in the Momodora series. You play as Momo, a priestess warrior investigating a demon threat. The gameplay starts off slow with limited movement abilities for Momo. However, as you progress, you unlock new abilities like dashing, double jumping, and fast travel that make exploration much smoother. Combat is enjoyable from the start, with a good melee combo and ranged arrows. You can also collect cards, companions, and upgrades that enhance Momo's abilities. The boss battles are a highlight, with epic cinematic moments and dynamic music changes during certain fights. Blade Chimera is a Metroidvania game set in a dystopian cyberpunk world where demons have overrun cities. The game is developed by Team Ladybug and is scheduled for release on Nintendo Switch in spring 2024. In this game, players control Shin, a demon hunter who has lost his memories and is exploring the world with his sword, the transformed Lumina Demon Lux. As the player progresses, they can recollect lost skills and memories about themselves, their missing wife, and forgotten abilities. Each skill recollected changes Lux's form, allowing the player to adapt to different situations. The game is not yet released, but I know this will be one of the best Metroidvania games of the year. Biomorph is a Metroidvania game created by Lucid Dream Studio that features the unique ability to scan and transform into various mutated creatures. This mechanic adds an interesting twist, allowing players to use the skills of these creatures to progress through the game's difficult platforming. As far as I can tell, the game has responsive controls, satisfying combat, and an impressive level design that encourages exploration. The town-building elements are also mentioned as a positive addition. While it does not fully capitalize on its central gimmick, Biomorph is a fun Metroidvania that should be played, especially by genre fans. Animal Well may look like a Metroidvania game at first, but it's actually much more than that. Instead, Animal Well is better described as a collection of puzzles. The game is focused on challenging players to understand the world in front of them and then complicating that understanding through more elaborate puzzles. Solving these puzzles is the primary pleasure and appeal of the game, rather than the typical Metroidvania elements. Overall, the key point is that Animal Well subverts expectations and genre conventions, and is better appreciated as a unique, puzzle-focused experience rather than a standard Metroidvania. Bow Path of the Teal Lotus is an adventure game where you play as Bow, a magical fox from the heavens. The game is inspired by Japanese myths and legends, and your mission is to complete an ancient ritual. The game is a 2.5D side-scrolling adventure in a beautiful world filled with colorful creatures called yokai. You'll need to overcome challenges and explore new areas using Bow's unique abilities. Bow has a shape-shifting staff that can turn into different weapons, like a machi mallet, by drinking special teas. You'll also meet friendly spirits and cute Daruma companions that can help you in fights. The game is developed by Squid Shock Studios and will be released on July 17, 2024. Gestalt Steam and Cinder is a promising new Metroidvania game with a steampunk setting. You play as Aletheia, a gunslinging, sword-wielding cowgirl who fights against machines in the last human city of Canaan. The combat has some depth, with melee combos, revolvers, dodge rolls, and backsteps. As Aletheia levels up, you can upgrade her health, melee damage, and gun capacity. The game has a classic Castlevania-inspired aesthetic, with detailed pixelated graphics that animate nicely. The demo showed a good variety of locations in the city of Canaan. The game is planned to be released on July 16, 2024, and I hope this will be your Metroidvania games of the year. Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist is a Metroidvania game by Binary Haze Interactive, following their hit game, Ender Lilies Quietus of the Nights. The game is set in a world where homunculi, affected by a magic-saturated mist, have become vicious and destructive. The player controls Lilac, an attuner who can restore the sanity of the homunculi, and sets off on a journey to save their race. The game features a captivating story, customizable gameplay, beautiful visuals, exciting boss fights, and a fantastic soundtrack. However, the game is currently in early access and lacks content, but overall, Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist shows promise and is worth keeping an eye on as it approaches its full release. Nine Souls is a Metroidvania game with East Asian influences, featuring slick parry combat and excellent platforming. You play as Yi on a quest for revenge with a story told through Yi's memories. The gameplay includes satisfying mechanics like a charged strike, Tai Chi kick, and a unique parry system inspired by Sekiro. The game can be challenging with its Souls-like elements, including tricky boss battles and frustrating respawn points. The platforming is also well done and becomes more complex as you unlock new abilities. The game can be challenging, with tough boss battles and punishing death mechanics, but it's fair and rewarding. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown stands out as Ubisoft's most unexpected title in a decade, blending Metroidvania gameplay with stunning visuals and dynamic storytelling. In this new 2.5D adventure, you play as Sargon, a young member of the elite Persian squad, the Immortals, on a mission to rescue the kidnapped prince from the mysterious Mount Kaf. The story is not very deep, but the gameplay is excellent. The combat is also a highlight, especially with the boss fight, with a fighting game style system that encourages the use of special abilities like time-bending powers. Not only that, the game offers difficulty options and accessibility features to make the experience more enjoyable for players of all skill levels. And that's it for today. What do you think about this list? I know there are Metroidvania games out there in this 2024 that I haven't mentioned yet. Please share your favorite Metroidvania games that you think deserve a spot here. Don't forget to like this video, and make sure you subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss another great list. And as always, thanks for watching and see you next time.